Good evening, welcome to the July 28th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If everybody rise to the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any announcements from the board? Just want to remind everybody to continue to recycle. We do have single sort recycling at the transfer station, and appreciate everybody's involvement to date, and continuing to try to drive the recycling rate up in this town. So would appreciate anyone doing more recycling. 6 p.m. we have Mr. Bogley, Mr. Fay on the...
Thank you. Red Fay, Road Commissioner. I've got a question for you people behind that big table. What can we do to get that pond that Mr. Denby's cleaned out over there?
Good question.
The
Yeah.
gentleman, you know, has been on the planning board for years here, and right now he can't do too much. I think something should be done before something happens to him.
What's the matter with the pond?
Well,
Full
when
of
we got
sand.
that Mother's Day storm, it's full of gravel.
And we went through a whole litany of questions through lawyers, and, you know, Patty has contacted a number of folks. And this was all in 2008, after the storm, right? The spring of 2008. I think we had a note from council, right, that had some concerns with it. I think some of the discussion was, is it a fire pond or isn't it a fire pond? What is it that we can do or can't do that the DEP would allow us or not allow us to do? But, and I mean, I agree with Fred. I think at some point, you know, the runoff from the town roads, on that whole hill have run down, and, you know, with all these heavy storms, we've in essence filled the man's pond up. So,
See, it used to be a fire pond, there was a hydrant there. In fact, the pipe is broke off, it still comes up through, you can see it.
I guess the question I have, if you set a precedent by cleaning out a person's pond, did a natural problem created, that it wasn't necessarily the town's act, but it was an act of weather, then you may be into it for a whole bunch of people who's live downhill, and things happen as driveways wash out or certain things happen that the town now is held responsible. On the other hand, is there a possibility there that if this is a fire pond, that we clean it out because we need it for fire purposes, rather than cleaning it out to do Mr. Denby a good deed? That, if we're doing Mr. Denby a good deed, that I think we run into some problems with. But if we do it because we can create a fire hydrant, a fire water for a fire hydrant, then it's for the town's purpose.
I did talk to Matt today about the dry hydrant that was there, and to the best that he was able to get for information, that hydrant was sheared off by a plow about 6 years or so ago and never has been replaced, and they've never had a need to use the pond since then. If the pond was to get dug out, then there would be an interest of putting the hydrant back in there, his only concern being what damage has been done to the pipe that's in the ground on the other end that you can't see. It's going to need some repair work. Where it was sheared off is all cracked. You don't know how deep those cracks go or what the pipe underground into the pond is, what condition that's in.
So the question would be, you know, you have $7,000 set aside, I understand. can you do the excavation of the pond for 5,000 and do the pipe work for a couple thousand and stay within budget there? And still, and get the, and what we're doing is we're excavating the pond for fire purposes, and we're not doing it for Mr. Denby.
Is it a viable option, Fred, that...
What's that?
Is it a viable option that the material that's in that pond now is usable?
Well, it could be, you
So that
know,
it would offset, maybe either offset the cost of digging it out, or it's something that the town could use on future road projects somewhere?
that material that's in there, if you don't dig deep, don't get down at the base of the pond. I mean, take the top off what's in there right now. You could reuse it, no problem at all.
Another.
Dennis,
David?
I mean, if that was my pond, and that filled up as it has over several years, granted, this is exceptionally rainy season we've had the last several years, but that hill washed out and it ended up in his pond. I mean, I don't care if it looks wrong or not. It's the only right thing to do is to clean the gentleman's pond out, and at the same time, you can use it for fire hydrant, but I mean, that is not his fault. And you can say it's God's fault, but you know, if perhaps the wrong ditching, but it doesn't matter. I mean, that was a flood there. And it would only be right and just if the town cleaned it.
Doug?
There's been some sedimentation going into that pond a little for years. But the bulk of that material that's in that pond, the road washed out so bad you couldn't walk, you couldn't drive up over it. When the culvert plugged, when the people on the other side of the road put a bunch of stuff out in the woods, it washed down, plugged the culvert out. We pulled trees out in front of that, Fred, you and I, to get the flow of water going back through the culvert. When it did, the water come up over the road and washed the whole entire road into the pond. It didn't just run into the pond, it literally washed it in because of the, I believe that's a 3-foot culvert or a 4-foot culvert under the road, and it plugged that culvert right solid, and we had to hook a chain on to pull the stuff out of the culvert. That's how much force it went in there. Same thing happened further on Ospey Hill Road, where Straw Mill Brook goes over, down at the next culvert, the same exact thing happened. People throw stuff out in the woods, trees fall down, and you can't just clean out the inlet of a culvert. You've got to go back up a little ways and see if there's anything. And that come down and built a dam and completely filled that, well, I don't know, but I would have guessed they put 200 to 300 yards or more of gravel, maybe 400 or 500 yards. Fred could tell you how much gravel went out. And a little of it went to the right-hand side looking up the road, but the bulk of it went into Roland's pond. And it happened in that storm we had 2 years ago.
The Patriots Day storm, then.
Yeah.
Mother's Day is done, wasn't it?
Mother's Day was first, then Patriots,
Yeah.
06 and 07.
Was there any federal remedy for Mr. Denby?
No, I think we looked at teeing that up, right, at the time, and the reason that we did not submit a request from FEMA was because of this whole issue of private versus, and going in and cleaning it out.
I remember when we talked about this, I mean, we talked about it in 2007, and then we talked about it again in August of 2008. I went back and I found my notes. And we had discussed submitting it for FEMA, but we knew we couldn't because it was private property. And then I seem to remember you being here, Pam, and you were the one that brought up that it was a fire pond, but it was after we had already gotten the FEMA money, and we determined we couldn't do
was
it.
too late for that year, because sometimes fire ponds on private can count, but Fred and I were just talking, sort of backtracking. It looks like Maine's going to be declared a presidential disaster for the rain, but up north, not for your county.
Yeah.
But it means there'll be hazard mitigation money for the whole state. And so there could be some money potentially coming down the road rather soon,
Yeah.
hopefully.
But one of the things that came out of that August 12th meeting was we were going to submit to MMA for another legal opinion that, based on the fact that it was a fire pond, could we spend the public money, because we run into the public doctrine, the public purpose clause where you can't expend public funds on private property. Myself, I think if we could get that ruling from MMA that if this is a fire pond and that's the purpose that we're going to use it for, and under MMA they're saying, yes, you can expend those funds, then I'm perfectly fine with cleaning that pond out as long as it's going to be used for a fire pond.
I mean, a couple issues. One, that is one way, and then the other one is the town recovering its own gravel, and reusing
You can
it,
recover
which,
so much of it. I mean, I can't say you can recover 100% of it.
Yes, sir.
What rights does Mr. Denby have, or the town, or does the town have the right to just arbitrarily dump their gravel on his property?
Well, we didn't arbitrarily dump it on.
Well, you did because you culverted.
Well, okay, but I mean, there's a whole scenario there that you could say, well, was it, and I suppose he could come back to the town and say, you guys did an improper job of, when you rebuilt that road, I mean, it was done in the 80s, right? Rebuilt the hill, you wasn't culverted properly, and all of those kind of things attributed this, because then we had, 20 inches of rain in 2 days, too, so, there were a lot of contributing factors, but I think the bottom line is that the man now has a pond that is useless.
The pond is now an oasis.
Yeah, right.
There's not much left. I took a ride by and it's all grown
You
in.
know, talking about plugging culverts up there beyond where Dave lived, that culvert plugged and washed out, remember, from trees and stuff in the woods? Something gotta be,
Will the restoration of that pond help adjoining properties with water runoff so that we don't incur problems later with the road?
Patty?
When I went out with DEP, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, we walked around the pond. Because of the sand in it, the water's rising and there's a dam at the end of the pond that's going to wash out eventually. And then it's just going to be a stream going right through. And it's because the water's rising because of the sand being in there.
Where's this water going to go, Pat?
Downstream, it'll just keep running.
And then back to this house.
Goes down behind the Friendship Park and
Yeah.
down to the...
way down through into Dayfield, won't that run into Dayfield, that cross road?
There is an earthen dam. There's a dam
Right.
to the outlet of the pond.
Right.
That's how they kind of enlarged the pond when they built it. I mean, that pond's been there for,
Well, since Rick had put the pond in, right? I mean, if not before you.
it's been there a long time. I couldn't tell you, Dennis, but it's 30 years or 40 years, but it's been there a long time.
What's the, did we go, do you recall, Nancy, whether or not we went back to MMA or not?
I could not find anything, but I sent the first response back to the attorney,
Okay.
and I haven't heard back from her yet.
So, I mean, I think we ought to resolve it sooner than later, but we ought to do that as legal as possible, I guess.
Oh, I understand, I understand.
Are we going to need an easement? Is the town going to need an easement for Mr. Denby to do that as well?
Certainly, we need his permission to go on his property.
If you
And
knocked on his door and said you were gonna clean it, he'd be some happy. You know, I talked to him.
Well, why don't we pursue that anyway, and then I think we'll bring back next week as an agenda item that says, hey, have we made any progress? And, it would be nice to put it to bed once and for all.
Thank you.
I think the will, from what I see of the board, is to do this project, but do it legally. So, that's the coming up with a reason that we can do this legally.
Okay. All right, Patty, sorry it's a little after 6:15, but
What I would like to do, I gave you a 3-page report of ongoing violations.
Yeah.
Instead of, and I just gave it to you, instead of going over all that tonight, I'd like to just go over the 3 newest ones that I've gotten in the last week or two.
all right.
And then maybe if you have questions on the report, we can do that another week. But I would request that you pay particular attention to number 4 on the second
So
page.
listen up.
Because I spent a lot of time on that one.
Yep.
The three newest ones is, we have a abandoned house with a swimming pool that's full, and it's in Lake Arrowhead. It does have a fence around it. It's a above-ground pool, and it has a fence, but I can walk right up and unlatch the gate and swim in it if I wanted to. And what I need to do is research the property owner and let them know that's a liability, but do we want to go put a lock on it? Do we even want to start doing that? I don't know, but
Well, does the town have any liability if we don't do something? I mean, it's private property, right? Has it just been, is it under bank ownership? Is it under some,
I haven't even been able to do that research yet
Okay.
to see who owns it. But I think if we get a health complaint and we ignore it, we may have some liability if we don't at least attempt to do something.
Can we give notice to the property owner or the mortgage holder of that they have X number of days to clean that up, or the town will do something and
That's,
at
that
their
would be,
expense?
yes.
that would be the...
That would be our first step,
Yeah.
and then if they ignore us, we might have
Right.
authority to go in and lock it ourselves.
Yep.
But we would notify them first. Then the bank should be interested in knowing that.
But I don't think we could drain it because we'd damage the pool because the water is required to hold the sides up.
But I think
But-
if we lock it so that, because I went up and made sure that, there was a little string there that would keep it from, the gate from coming down, but if I wanted to, I could have pulled it right down and,
Well, if the water's green and mucky, like you said, I'm not sure who would go in, but it would keep it, any children
kids,
from-
yeah.
You get a kid falling,
Right.
I mean, that's
If they
the,
fell in, you wouldn't see them.
That's right.
At all.
And the next complaint was, it's an old property dispute that's rearing up again. It is a civil matter. I think no matter what comes out of my office, it will come back. And if anybody wants more history on, it started like 13 years ago, I think.
The same property owner is still involved? I mean, the houses haven't been sold or?
No. It's relatives of the same property owners.
Just the tattoo.
And the third complaint is about an old abandoned septic tank. This is partly a civil matter because the people who want to pump the tank thinks it's their property, and the person who thinks the tank is on their property, they're disputing about who owns this tank. I am working with DEP because it's an underground tank of some sort. I have not investigated it at length myself. I think it warrants a specialist, I'll call them.
So we don't know whether there's hazardous waste in it or not.
We don't. We do know that the person across the street wants to get whatever's in that tank out. He wants access to it, and the person who thinks he owns the property where it is says, that's my property, you can't come onto my property, which we're not getting involved in that part, but
Is the tank leaking?
not that I can tell.
Is the tank accessible from the surface so that if somebody...
It looks like there's a
Cover?
riser. To me, there's concrete blocks, looks like a homemade riser with a steel cover on the top.
Is that something kids could lift?
It's possible. It doesn't look like it's been touched in years. The person who lives there has lived there, I think he said 13 years. I don't know why that number keeps coming up, but he's never looked inside under that cover. He's never really bothered with it, and now the person across the street wants to get inside there and won't tell me why. And I'm not getting involved in the property dispute part of it.
Yeah.
But it's something that if there is hazardous material. I would rather you guys know about it before it gets out, and then you don't have any knowledge that that's going on.
DEP is involved with this.
Yes. And I think, I took pictures today, I'll email them in the morning. Probably sometime this week, I will know a lot more.
Okay.
But they're interested enough in it that they're going to send somebody out here.
You have the original lot plan on that residence that shows the location of the septic tank in the leach field?
I don't think that that's a residential septic tank.
Was there a business there before?
Across the street. If you want to stop by my office, I can show you more details on where the property is. I'm trying to protect people's personal information, but
Well, I understand
Yeah.
that, but I'm trying to find out who might own that tank. So,
I think the person who wants to pump it out is probably the original owner of it.
and we can substantiate that with plot plans and that show the layout?
And other than that, the first two on the page that I gave you today are brand-new complaints, and the rest of it's just all old stuff. Some of it is just reports that some have been resolved.
Number 4, we haven't been able to resolve that.
I really put a lot of time into it.
Okay, anybody that's watching this meeting, anybody that owns a rooster in a village zone and is letting him run amok, please corral him. He remains the most wanted individual in the town of Waterboro.
And I think with that, I'm all set.
All right, thanks,
And I
Jan.
will request a meeting in the future to get updates and direction on some of these older things.
Good,
Thank you.
thanks, Ben. Okay, moving into the agenda. Any, we don't have, I guess the appointments should have been above that, right? Hearing a delegation. We want to recognize Representative Wagner, who's in the room tonight. Appreciate, as usual, you coming down and finding out what we're doing. Any reports? Nancy?
The neighborhood stabilization program.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I got a call from Crystal Ross on Friday, I believe it was. They hope by the end of July, the offers will be made. They're still waiting for the funding. And they hope to have the first house completed by the 1st of October.
Huh?
And when that is completed, they're going to ask the Board of Selectmen to come and look at it. And it looks like there's a possibility that Waterboro is going to be, there will be more funds than what was originally set aside.
Originally, it was like 600,000.
Got a great house with a swimming pool that they might be interested in.
Anything else, Nancy?
Oh, I'm sorry, roadblock grant, we received a funding, notice of funding today, and for this fiscal year, we're gonna get $81,048.
Right
What did
now.
Right now.
Right.
What did we planned on?
76.
So we did all right.
Well, we
They still
haven't
may
got
be
it yet.
73.
We haven't got it yet.
It's that rooster counting the chickens before they hatch.
Just, you know, with some checks in the mail.
Yeah.
Anything else, Nancy?
That's
Anybody on the selectmen?
Yep.
Amy Jo?
Our letter, hopefully everybody saw that our letter to county government was answered this week. We did get a reply, and the reply came from Richard Brown. He said that a letter had previously been sent to cities and towns in York County asking that if anybody wanted a commissioner to come in and attend one of their meetings than to call the office. So I think that we should take them up on that offer and give a call and have Dan Cabral as our representative from Saco, maybe have him come to a meeting later in the month. And as far as our request about getting the minutes and the agendas, I don't know if that was misread, but they felt that mailing would have been too time-consuming and costly. I don't think they picked up on the fact that we were asking for emails of agendas and minutes, which would not be time-consuming or costly. So if, we can get one of the county commissioners to come in, maybe we could clarify that with them. But they did say that they are working on updating their website and having minutes and agendas on their website. So I would just like us to invite them to attend one of our meetings.
I would like the impetus to come from them rather than for us to have to go to their website to get their meetings. I'd like to
Exactly.
have them take the responsibility for communicating with their towns.
And their meetings change quite frequently. The meeting is scheduled for 4 o'clock, and then the next thing you know, you show up at 4 o'clock and they actually started at 3. And it was kind of a frequent occurrence, I found.
John, I know that, in fact, we've talked about maybe shuffling the deck here on the 12-town group, but wouldn't the 12-town group be a perfect opportunity for 1 or 2 commissioners to come and address the regional boards of...
From what I understand, some of the county commissioners have actually been quite active in the communities that they represent and have gone to communities and attended selectmen's meetings and made themselves known. Apparently, we don't have maybe a representative in our area that's on board with doing that.
Yeah, last one I ever saw was Joe Curran, and that was, oh my God, I think he passed away years ago. Okay, anything else? Anything else from the rest of the board? Any committee reports? David?
Just to remind the folks in town that we are trying to push recycling. We have a single-stream recycling system now where all recyclables go into the recycling compactor. And the big issue is cardboard and paper still going into the household trash. If people could learn to recycle that instead of throwing it into the household waste, that would save the town a considerable amount of tonnage. And keep in mind that each ton of trash that the town sends to Maine is $88, whereas the recyclables you do not pay for. We pay transportation, but we do not pay a disposal fee. So keep recycling, please, and if you're not doing it, please try to get involved. I'd like to put a plug in for the Waterboro Historical Society. I don't know if you can pick that up or not. But on August 8th, from 1 o'clock to 4, at the old Dennis Johnson Lumber Mill, there's going to be an open house. We have a mystery guest coming who is an old-timer who worked there for years, and he's looking forward to meeting the people and explaining on how the mill operated. This mill was very important to the local community, especially North Waterboro and Lower Limerick towards the Waterboro line. Many families were employed there, so it has a great history, and hope to have a good turnout August 8th from 1 to 4.
Good. Thanks, David. Okay, new business, committee appointments. We're still looking for appointment to the planning board. We have a couple of candidates. We put out an ad last week, so...
So it's run for 1 week.
Right. Any pleasure in seeing what comes of that, or... Pardon? So it was in last week or this week's paper? Then? Well, what's your pleasure there?
I'll move that we accept Frank Allen for the planning board. Now, the only concern I have there is we decided that we wanted to spread out the membership as much as possible, and Frank is currently on the road review committee, so that's my only concern there. So I don't know if people wish to wait another week or not, but I'm going to put his name out there.
Second?
I would second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor of appointing Frank? All those opposed? Motion carries. All right. Vote to pay non-disputed portion of the phone bill. Nancy?
This is the, pay the part that is our official phone bill.
For I guess, for those of you that don't know, and not to get into all the intricate detail, but sometime around the town meeting, we had someone decide to use the town or the municipal phone accounts to place some $15,000 worth of phone calls to a couple of very, very nice places, right? In the Philippines and a few other choice places, Germany. So, needless to say, we have a bit of a bill dispute going on with Pine Tree Networks. So this would be to move to,
And I've been in contact with PUC also.
okay.
And our attorney has said that we need to make sure that we pay the non-disputed portion.
I would make a motion that we pay the non-disputed portion of our phone bill.
Second. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Vote to sign the selectmen's order.
So moved. Second?
Second.
Any discussion on the selectmen's order? All those in favor? Opposed? Vote to accept the road review committee member resignation. There's a letter here from the current chair, Dustin Holden, who has evidently found some opportunities in a southern state, so he will be moving, I guess, based on this letter, and is offering his resignation.
I think as most people know, I'm involved with the road review committee, and Dustin certainly added a new zest to that committee. Definitely, they all have worked very hard in the past year, but I think Dustin's youth and exuberance certainly has led that committee in a different direction. I think that they'll continue on in that direction, but I think Dustin played a tremendous role in what we saw come out of that committee over the past year, and so I'd make a motion that we accept the resignation with much regret and gratitude for the work that he has done for the Road Review Committee in the past year.
I second that, and I so agree with Tammy. I think that he moved in a direction that I hope the committee keeps moving in that direction, and he did a great job.
Exuberance.
That's a
He
good word.
he was
Youthful.
he is an incredible
Yeah.
force for roads, and he did a great
Yeah,
job.
blew everybody
Great
away.
job.
Yep.
I mean, he took it upon himself to really get involved with DOT. He's established state contacts. It's just the time that he's put into that position has really been a wonderful asset for the town.
Okay. Discussion. We'll discuss it. All right.
I think that this is an opportune time for the board and for the town to look at recognizing people that provide volunteer service or that are longtime employees here. I know that recently we've had some resignations from the planning board, from individuals that have taken a lot of their own time to, devote towards town business, and I think that we probably ought to establish a protocol that these people are recognized with some type of official certificate or plaque or something from the town recognizing their contributions. I mean, if we have an expectation that we want to have people volunteer, sometimes it's nice to hear that, you've done a good job. And so that's what I throw out for discussion right now.
I'd agree with Gordon wholeheartedly.
So all we need on that is just a little bit of money somewhere to put into that, and so that we can either purchase the plaque, but it just takes the time to write the thank you, to maybe have them come before the selectmen and give them something for. So it seems to me that it'd be pretty easy to do and not going to be.
So let's, because we're kind of wavering a little bit on what the motion is, may I make a recommendation that we put that on next week's agenda to determine
Exactly what
we're going to do and what funding we need, which I think you're right, is not one.
Well, there is an account for volunteers. I don't think there's much in $100 or $1,000, I don't remember which, but there is an account for volunteer recognition.
So circling back to the motion, which is to accept Dustin's resignation with regrets. All those in favor? Opposed? Thanks. Old business, media equipment security. I don't know if that's all one thing, or media equipment and security, or?
Was that just to move the servers?
Yeah,
Okay.
Dave has already taken some steps along with the assistance of the girls in the front office out there, and have rearranged, filing space and so forth to accommodate moving the server out of the public area and into a secured room.
Okay. So we really don't have to act on it other than...
That's more of a report.
We're moving in the right direction there, right? Okay, other business, vote to sign warrants and bills for payroll.
So moved.
All those in favor? Sign the minutes of 7/21/09.
I don't think there are any. I didn't see any. That's why I didn't see them.
There are, right? I mean, I thought I just saw them.
No.
No? Okay. So what do we look at? Oh, it's minutes of another one. Never mind. All right, so item 2 is not available currently.
Let's move that to next week.
Yeah. Discussion of agenda items. One issue that we need to at least deal with was, in follow-up to the workshop last night, to at least put on the agenda the Transfer Station Committee's recommendation of a warrant article, and I think at this point it'll be in concept, right, but we need to put it on the agenda. Denby's Pond, follow-up, recognition program. Help me. What do we have on the agenda, Pam, for any meetings?
Still playing catch up.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we
I
did.
don't think there was anything.
It seems like there's something going on next week.
We got the,
It was either the 4th or the...
right,
or
now,
the-
Fourth, we have Pine Creek Grove.
Are we all here next week?
no, Tammy Jo was,
No, I'm not here next week.
I'm not here next week.
excuse me? One thing for a selectman to, take a vacation is another thing.
Didn't
Any-
follow it that much.
Yeah, you're off 1 week, she's on. Any other items that we need to put on here? If not, we'll move on to items needing signature, warrants and bills for payroll, we're not signing the minutes. Selectmen's order, concealed weapon request, reminders, tomorrow night, planning board at Town Hall Annex here at 7 PM. Monday the 3rd, Water District trustees over at the Town Hall at 6 PM. Tuesday here, 6 PM, the Waterboro Selectmen's meeting. So, that being said, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?